EFT has been used on a variety of issues. Addictive cravings of all types, allergies, anxiety, panic attacks, anger, compulsions, obsessions, depression, sadness, dyslexia, enhancing self-image, fears and phobias, grief and loss, guilt, insomnia, negative memories, pain and symptom management, physical healing, enhancing peak performance, post-traumatic stress disorder, sex abuse issues, etc., relief of pain, migraine, arthritis, etc. One of the tenets of EFT, and there's a movie of this name, is basically try it on everything, because you never know what's going to work. It could be the case that EFT is the root system that integrates all of our emotional and physical energy fields, and we can access it with EFT, and that may be what makes it so transformative. And it means that it goes beyond the limits of any type of system that we've come across before. Any kind of linear educational system is blown away by EFT because it's not working on the same principles. Who would have thought tapping your eyebrow could remove a headache, or in some cases fix some debilitating illnesses like diabetes, really, and also physical healing, so people's bodies physically heal faster. I used EFT a lot when I broke my arm, and it really helped me. Obviously I could only tap on one side but it's amazing. So try it on everything. That's when to use EFT. Try it on everything. But the one thing that I teach in my programs is be preemptive. Tap before it happens. You don't want to be fighting fires. You want to be fireproof. So that's why I make my courses, to help people to know what to tap beforehand. So, the process. The basic recipe is the standard basic procedure that is employed to treat any emotional physical disturbance. Once learned, each round of the basic recipe should take under a minute or two to perform. That's how quick it is. Now, the basic recipe is the setup, the sequence, the 9-gamut procedure, the sequence again, adjustments for subsequent rounds. So let me just clarify one thing. I tend to only use the setup and the sequence, and even only partially use the sequence. But you get to know yourself how to modify the tapping procedure. But in the beginning, do the whole thing. I mean, it's already been simplified so much. You've only got to do this one sequence. So imagine if we never had EFT and we were stuck with thought field therapy, trying to learn 144,000 different methods. So think of it as like the most rapid system available anywhere, and that's what it basically is. So let's look at these in more detail. The setup. This is the stage, so to speak, for EFT to work. In this stage, you rub the acupressure point, known as a sore point, while you say your setup phrase. Now, you could also tap the karate chop point, which is on the side of your hand, and you tap or rub the sore point, and you set up phrase, and you say out loud the setup phrase 3 times. And this is an accurate description of your issue as possible in the following format. Even though, and you insert problem here, so even though I feel low, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you do it again. Even though I feel low, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you do that 3 times. And examples of the setup phrases might be, even though my back aches, even though I tend to lose my cool at work, even though I have this pain in my jaw, even though I have fear of heights, I deeply and completely accept myself. You just say what it is. This procedure here is releasing the psychological reversal. So it's setting up your mind-body process to acknowledge what it is that there needs to be healed and allowing the healing to take place. The sequence is the next step. So while holding the problem in the mind, you tap 7 times or so in succession in each of the 13 points, 5 on the face, 2 on the torso, 5 on the hand. I tend to make the 5 on the hand optional, but it's up to you. Some people only use the 5 on the hand, it varies. And then 1 on the back of the hand, the gamut point. So and that's the 13th point, which I don't always use. To assist you in keeping the problem in mind, you repeat it at each point a shortened version of your setup statement called the reminder statement. And the reminder statements of the above examples, so for instance, even though my back aches, the remainder statement might be this backache, or my backache, or it could be this irritability at work, this jaw pain, this fear of heights. Whatever it is the shortened version of your main setup statement. The ninth gamut. The gamut point is located on the back of the hand, just behind and in between the knuckles of the ring and little finger. While tapping continuously on this point, you will execute a series of actions that, while looking bizarre, engage your brain and set your neurology up to be working on the problem. And so once you've done the 9 gamut, you do the sequence again, and the sequence is repeated as before, picking up any residual remaining issues. This constitutes one round of the basic recipe, and we are going to do it, so don't worry about it. I'll take you into that in a bit more detail. In many cases, you may get complete relief of your distress from just this single round. However, if the upset is still felt to some degree, simply repeat the basic recipe with the adjustments as follows. So, adjustments for subsequent rounds. Substitute the setup phrase you used with this one. Even though I still have some of this backache, I deeply and completely accept myself. For example, even though I still have some of this fear of heights, I deeply and completely accept myself. And substitute the remainder phrase for this one. This remaining backache, this remaining fear. For example, this remaining fear of heights. And now we're going to examine the actual points that you'll be tapping on so you know where to tap. Okay, so there's one more concept before proceeding to the actual points. And this is really, really useful. It's called scaling the problem. At the beginning of an EFT session, take a rating of the intensity of distress you feel on a subjective scale of 1 to 10. Thus, a strong upset might be 8 or 9, and mild might be a 3. At the end of the round of the basic recipe, scale the problem again. Has it reduced? Your goal is to have it down to 1 or 0, which would indicate complete freedom from the distress you started out with. Having your distress drop from a 7 or 8 to a 0 in a couple of rounds of EFT is an amazing, life-changing experience, and one that happens more often than you expect. As we said earlier, at least 50% in beginners and 95% in experienced users. So getting started. So now you're ready to learn the points to tap on. The following screens will show you exactly how to perform the basic recipe. Advance through with me a few times and you'll get the idea of how to actually use this. You can always just rewind the video, go through it again. And then try out tapping for yourself. And it's best if you practice on a real problem. And it can be anything. It can be a belief system. It can be an idea. It can be a physical feeling that you have or an emotion. See, EFT is an experiential in nature, and no amount of explanation or reading about it can really take the place of actually doing it. So this is a participation process. But once you learn EFT, you'll be able to perform each round of the basic recipe in literally a minute or two. I mean, I really want to emphasize how short amount of time that is to heal yourself of something that could have been troubling you your entire life. If you're working on an actual problem, remember to scale your problem before you start, and to scale it again at the end of each round, because this helps your skepticism become removed, because you get quantifiable results. It's not like a woo-woo or I feel a bit better. It's like, oh wow, I can really notice the difference in this process.